to my channel. My name's Charlie Stevens. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to learn some more guitar today. So we've learned about the first 5 strings and how to read music on them. And I thought that would be a good way to start teaching chords too. Really, a lot of times we can just pick up a book that has some chords in it maybe, or look for a good chord chart online that has easy beginner chords, and you'll come up with what we call the Cowboy Chords when you do this, okay? So sometimes we'll just look those up and we'll just kind of start memorizing them almost at random or learning them all, and that's okay. You want to know them all, so whatever order you learn them in is fine. I decided I was going to teach them like this since we're teaching these strings in a certain order anyway, okay? So we already learned a C chord where we only used one finger. And that was back when we had only learned about these first 3 strings, okay? So we were only strumming the first 3 strings. We can actually play more strings for the C chord though, okay? This is the traditional way to play it. If you looked up a chord chart, beginner guitar chords, how to play C, you're most likely going to come up with this. When people play C, they're most likely talking about this. Maybe not some of those options, okay? Those are awesome too, so you're going to want to know lots of ways to play C, and I'll help show you those. But this is sort of the main way, okay? The Cowboy chord version of C. So we can now learn this because the root of it is on our A string. Remember when we learned the notes on the A string? If you haven't watched that video, please go check it out. Notes on the 5th string. And in that one we learned that the 3rd fret is where the note C is. You can also do fretboard math too. A, half step's A sharp. Half step from there on the 2nd fret is B. B has no sharp, so we go straight to C. If you don't know what the heck I was just talking about there, watch the musical alphabet video where I explain what all that stuff means, okay? But anyhow, we have the C note here, and we're going to use our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, which is a general rule. Anytime I have something on the 3rd fret, I try to use my 3rd finger. Now on the next string, the 4th string, I'm going to use my 2nd finger on the 2nd fret. That follows our little rule too. That's cool. Now, what do I do now? Well, if you remember our other C chord we learned, I have to make it look like that. So from our other C chord, did I have anything fretted on the G? I didn't. It was open, so this is going to remain open. Did I have something fretted on the B? I did. The 1st fret, which gives me the note C. And then, if you recall, the E string was played open, so we still have this shape. And we basically added the 2nd finger here to the 2nd fret of the 4th string. By the way, we could have played this as a 4-string version. I could have taught this chord after we did the 4th string. But I decided to wait because we already had a way of playing C, and this doesn't have the root in the bass. This is the note E that I'm playing on my 4th string. So this is a chord said to be an inversion. So we'll talk about inversions and inverted triads and things like that. But basically, it doesn't strongly state the sound of the C chord as well as this one that has the C in the bass. Now that I have my lowest note has the root of the chord, which is the note in which the chord is named after, in this case C, right? Now that I have that in the bass, I get a nicer sound. Okay, so we're not going to play anything on our low E string, mostly because we haven't learned about that one. We actually could play a note on there for C. But that's something we don't really need to worry about right now, because typically the main way to play C is like this, a 5-string version. Okay, C here on the 3rd fret of A, E on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, open 3rd string, G, the C note on the 2nd string, 1st fret, and the open 1st string, the note E. Okay, and that's a C major chord. This one is cool because it's actually in order too. Learn the A minor, it was a little out of order in terms of the arpeggio. When I arpeggiated the A minor chord, I actually had to put my pinky down somewhere in that shape. That's a little advanced. I'm not going to get into exactly what that means right now, but basically we skip something. I'm supposed to have that C, it's actually a C note in A minor. We have a C note in A minor over here, right? A, C, E. It's really really what makes up an A minor. We skip that one, which is totally fine to do. We're allowed to rearrange these, but I just think it's C is a good one because it's the way it's sort of supposed to go, okay? So I'm stopping at the high C. I'm going from C to C. And that's called an arpeggiated, or in this case, an arpeggiated chord, since I'm also holding the chord shape down. If I did this, that would just be an arpeggio because two of those notes I just played were on the same string. So that's not an arpeggiated chord, it's just a regular arpeggio. This could be a chord, but it could also be an arpeggio. Okay? That doesn't always happen, okay? So that's a little advanced. Sorry if that sort of went over your head, but that will be discussed on this channel when we start diving into arpeggios, triads, the theory behind all this stuff. But I don't want you to worry about that now, because if you're just learning about your C chord, then there's plenty of time to learn about all that stuff later on. But I don't know, I just have a very deep appreciation for this chord. It seems like something that's sort of a beginner thing, but it's actually designed really well, and the theory holds up, and it's just a really cool thing. Lots of different lick possibilities that just sort of lay out under your fingers with this one. So very important chord to know. Okay, so some people have a little bit of a tough time with this one. It's not as easy as, say, A minor. Although I do want to point out it's very similar to A minor. It has almost the exact same notes, and finger-wise it's very similar too. So go check out the video on A minor if you haven't seen that. But I'm going to assume you know that one, right? So if we have our A minor shape here, it's almost exactly like C, but what we have to do is our third finger in A minor is on the second fret of the third string. If we take that off, and then we reach it over here to the third fret of the fifth string, that's a C. So you can go back and forth between C and A minor for practice, moving only one finger. Okay? And now we have a few of our cowboy chords down. So we'll keep learning the rest of our cowboy chords, then we get into learning more ways to have fun with our rhythms and do different things on strumming all these cowboy chords. And we'll start putting them into examples in real songs. And this is where the fun really starts. So thank you so much for watching these episodes and sticking with me as I give you all this great background information so I can communicate the next part. But we're really getting into the fun part of playing the guitar now. So I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson, and we'll do some of that fun picking. Thanks. See you next time.